Ceann Comhairle, Taoiseach, this country is now facing some very big problems. We were in here earlier this afternoon talking about the aftermath of the rejection of the Lisbon Treaty. And we're now in a situation where the country is facing the biggest diplomatic challenge that we've had as a country probably since World War II. Last week, unemployment live register went through the 200,000 mark. We've seen the biggest increase in unemployment over the last year in 40 years. Jobs are being lost in our economy at a rate of 235 a day, 1,600 a week. On top of that, we have the huge change in our public finances. We were 5 billion in surplus 2 years ago. We're 1.5 billion behind already this year. Our economy, Taoiseach, is heading for a recession. Now, against that background, it is unthinkable, and frankly I think irresponsible, that the government is effectively proposing that Dáil Éireann be closed down for public business for 3 months of the summer. The Labour Party has proposed to you, private members' business tonight, a motion which would require that this House be sitting up towards the end of July and be back again at the beginning of September. And your government has tabled an amendment to that which effectively provides for an extra week sitting for statements on the National Development Plan. Against the scale of the problems that we are now faced with in this country, I don't think that that is acceptable. And I want to ask you, Taoiseach, firstly, can you explain to the public of this country, who are worried sick about jobs and businesses and rising prices and all of the other problems that the country is now confronted with, why we're going to up sticks in the second week in July and not do any public business until the end of September? And don't you think, particularly in circumstances where frankly there has been a huge erosion of confidence in political leadership in this country, that we ought to be here addressing the serious problems that are facing our nation, the consequences of last week's decision and where we're going as a country? Ceann Comhairle, I don't want to talk down the economy. Don't want to return to days of high unemployment or high immigration, or I don't want to see again either the kind of terror that we used to see in the faces of families whose homes were about to be repossessed. But there's a difference between talking it down and ignoring it. And it seems to me that the government are in denial. The economy is in a serious situation. And people are worried about it. And when people go around asking themselves, what happened last week? I'll tell you what happened last week. There is in the pit of the stomach of this nation an apprehension about where things are going. People are just worried about their jobs, and they're worried about their businesses, and they're worried about the country, and they're worried about their children, and they see the prices going up, and the 50 euros that it took to fill the car with petrol 12 months ago is now taking, 70 or more, and they see it every day. Now, the response cannot be a business as usual response. That the Dáil goes into recess, the government closes down the Dáil for the summer, and then heads off into conclave to discuss estimates and a budget over the period of the summer and the early autumn. This is public business. This is business that affects the lives of the people of this country, and it needs to be conducted in public. And it is not acceptable. I know there have been arguments, and there's a certain ritual about this every year about when the Dáil closes down and the length of the recess and so on. The problems that this country faces this year are such that it is irresponsible for the government to attempt to close down the business of Dáil Éireann. The message we need going out from here is not that the TDs are going on holidays, but that there are serious problems facing the country and that leave is cancelled.